Hello, I'm Reema Chandra and welcome to Cooking Without Boundaries. Today when I was preparing and thinking what to make on today's show, I was totally confused, utterly lost, not being able to decide. And I think many of you out there are also in the same boat with what to cook and not being able to decide. I had, beginning of the week, I had made some grocery shopping which included a bunch of meat products and vegetables. So I thought, why not do something for the week or maybe next 2-3 days and cook all of that today so that you get some heads up on your dinner or meal time. And so today I have decided to make one vegetable dish and 2 meat dishes. We are going to have fun with it, and once I'm back, I'll tell you what we are cooking. So here we are. First dish is sauteed red cabbage with sweet green peas. Let's get started with that. We will have 1.5 teaspoon of cooking oil. My pan is already, I've heated it up, so I'll spread the oil. Take 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seeds. Now mustard seeds you may not have in your spice cabinet, and it's perfectly okay to get some from your supermarket. You can find it in regular grocery store. So mustard seeds go in, and 1/2 teaspoon of chopped ginger. And let's take out my favorite spatula. Let the mustard seeds crack, and we add shredded red cabbage. Mix it as well as you can quickly. Now this is a wide mouth flat non-stick pan, so it doesn't require much oil. And also because of it being wide and flame at medium, this is not going to release water. You do not want it to release water. You just want it to saute dry. So I will spread it around. It's going to sit there and get cooked for, let's say, 3 minutes, and then we're going to come back and add frozen peas to it. So checking on the red cabbage, and they turn color a little, and I can see some getting charred here, so they're ready to take peas in. Let's add peas. This is 1 cup of frozen petite sweet green peas, and what I did was I actually put it in microwave for 2 minutes and then added it here. Because of having slightly cooked in microwave, the green color stays while the peas are already soft and cooked, and you don't have to overcook it. I like it when different colors are playing in the pan and on your dish, so that you have taken care of the nutrition, the colors, the aesthetics, the beauty, everything. Let's add salt. Water, I would just go with 1/4 teaspoon of salt. What else? Black pepper. Here's my freshly grounded black pepper. I'm just going to take a pinch of it, and I wish I had a measuring spoon smaller than 1/4. I don't. So I'm just going to take a pinch and sprinkle. And our sauteed cabbage, red cabbage with sweet peas is ready. Let's switch off the stove and serve it on a serving dish and let's get started with our next dish. So as I promised, we're going to have fun on this particular cooking show. So next dish is lamb chops, and the way we are going to prepare is keep it with some moisture in. Before we get started, let me talk to you about what is necessary in your dinner plate for you to feel that this is tasty, this is healthy, this is edible. And if you keep it all dry, all of the various 3 or 4 dishes dry, then that's not going to go well with your palate. So you want to combine something with some moisture in it, something dry, something crispy, and all of it together on your dinner plate is what will make it tasty. And of course, you've taken care of the healthy part. So now the lamb dish that we're going to prepare is onion spiced lamb chops with chives. Chives is very easy herb to get in supermarket. Onions, of course, anywhere. And lamb chops are these lamb chops. I bought them in just any grocery store you can go to. I like to have my meat with some bones because it keeps the juices in the meat. So I have about 1.5 pounds of lamb chops, and I'm going to add to this hot pan about a teaspoon of butter, and then add these chops and brown the 2 sides of it, and then take it out. So let's do the browning process right now. A variation on this could be chicken, pork chops, even fish. So don't hesitate to do that with whatever you have in your refrigerator, your freezer, your pantry, your grocery basket. I keep saying that cook with what you have. You don't have to run to grocery store all the time. So one side is brown and I'm going to turn it over. And they look good. And I'm using a non-stick tongs here so that my pan doesn't get scratched. And let it cook for another minute. While that is happening, the moisture in this dish is going to come from its own, from the meat, from onion, from tomatoes, and then we are going to balance ginger and garlic and salt with honey and chives. It all sounds very good. So let's take the meat pieces out. They look good. They look exactly the way I wanted them to. And I like that. And I can control how my ingredients behave. Next is 1 teaspoon. This is half a teaspoon measuring cup. So 1 teaspoon of cooking oil in the same pan that you did your lambs, and 1 cup of chopped onion, 1 teaspoon of chopped ginger, and let's use this, half a teaspoon of garlic paste. Saute it all together, stir it. Smell of fresh ginger, garlic and onion is very appetizing. I had talked about ginger, the trio of ginger, garlic and onion in one of the episodes about how they often go together and balance each other's flavor and heat and nutrition. I like to cook with three of them often, particularly in meat dishes, and I'm sure you have garlic in your kitchen, you have ginger in your kitchen, and onion we all have. So if not, then make it a regular in your grocery basket. That would be helpful to plan your meals. They look good. Onion is browning, and at this point I want to add one cup of chopped tomatoes. Okay, there goes my tomatoes. Mix it together and let it get sauteed and cooked in the pan for about 2 minutes. We'll come back to it. So the onion and tomatoes, they have cooked together and released water, and they look mushy, and I have also been trying to mush them together and mix them together while I'm stirring it. So at this point I want to add salt, and that would be for about a pound and a half of lamb chops. I would add about a teaspoon to begin with, and later we can taste. This is quarters and this is half, so that's tea. And a teaspoon of honey to balance the salt and heat and everything. There you go. Mix it together. Half a teaspoon of cracked pepper. In this dish, if you remember, I talked about 5 essential spices that you should get and keep it in your spice cabinet, and if you don't, you should, because that makes your life easier in making meals. Those 5 essential spices could also be used here if you had them. Today I'm not going to use it because just because you may not have it. But if you did, at this point, those 5 essential spices, the coriander, the cumin, the black pepper we already did, paprika and turmeric. So all of it mixed together, ground it together, and have a teaspoon of that going in at this point. Let's add lamb pieces. Place them. And the juices go in. Stir them together. Coat pieces with spices that is in the pan already. And then cover it with lid and let it simmer until the lamb pieces are cooked. You could stir it once or twice before you are sure that the lamb pieces are cooked. So somewhere from, let's say, 10 to 20 minutes. Let's cover the pan, and we are going to, while that would simmer, we're going to start another dish. Continuing on with the fun part, we will now make hot, sweet and tangy pork chops. Now, when I say hot, most of us have paprika in our kitchen. When I say tangy, we have lemon or lime in our kitchen, and sweet, it comes with honey. So let's get started. 2 teaspoons of oil, coat the pan. Now it's hot, so I'll hold it, coat the pan, and two teaspoons of chopped ginger. Ginger gives a very refreshing flavor to our dishes, and if it is freshly chopped and not from a bottled up, previously pasted ginger from the grocery store, I encourage you to use it because it does add a very nice flavor to your food, and a little bit of good spices. Pork chops, these are boneless, and I thought because I'm cooking one with bone, people sometimes they do not like bone, so I thought of doing one without bones. And this is good round thin slices. You could also make, put them between buns and eat them like burger. So I'm going to place these 3. This much of pork chops is roughly about 1.25 pounds. And move them around in the pan. Turn them. And add two teaspoons of lemon juice, honey. This is about a teaspoon of honey. Quarter teaspoon of fresh cracked peppers and salt. This is about half a teaspoon of salt. Turn them one more time. It may look like this is looking very bland right now, but once it cooks, we're going to add more things to it, and that's when you'll see how interesting and how tasty it gets. Place the lid over pork chops, let it simmer and get cooked. While this meat is cooking and the lamb chops are cooking, we're going to take a break here and come back to finish them off. Onion spiced lambs are ready. Let's check the doneness of it. Oh, smells so good, so good. And what we will do is we will dish it and garnish it with chives. I like to mix a little bit of garnish in the pan itself so that the taste of garnishing gets in the meat. So this is my chives here. Let's do them. Mix in a little bit. Wow, they look so beautiful and so yummy. Let's dish it. Beautiful color, appetizing smell, and hungry people, all that you need in your kitchen to get the meal going. Beautiful. Chives brings in that green, little bit of touch of green and fresh herb taste to our lamb dish. Don't leave these last bit of onion and spices in the pan. They are the tastiest stuff. So grab everything, and if still there's some left, put your rice in it, mix it, and then dish the rice in your plate. We will be tasting it, but let's check on hot, sweet and tangy pork chops. I think they are ready as well. We'll dish those as before we try all our dishes today. So let's get to pork chops. So on to our next dish, which is almost, the honey in it has charred, so we will have a nice charred red color here. And let's switch off. And at this point, I put them on side, and I'll add half cup of sliced red peppers. Now, if you remember, I used a little bit of paprika in it because I wanted to give it some heat. Red peppers don't add any heat to it, but that sort of goes with the theme that you have added paprika and you are adding red peppers. So you're not actually deviating from the heat scale there. I mean, you're not adding any more to the heat scale, but you're adding visible appearance of some red peppers there, saying that it could be a little spicy. So sweet, hot, sweet and tangy, or sour or tangy, whatever you call it, they're all the same. Pork chops are ready. We're not going to cook red peppers anymore because of the heat of the pan itself, it'll get a little bit sauteed, cooked. Dish it, and we are going to taste it. So we did it again. Do you remember how confused I was in the beginning of this episode, that I didn't know what to cook, what to make, what to decide? And I also said that probably many of you are often in the same boat as I was this earlier today. But we did. We decided with what we had in our refrigerator, with what we had in our freezer, like frozen peas and some of the meats that we had bought at grocery store for the week. And we made onion spiced lamb chops with chives. We made hot, sweet and tangy pork chops, and we made sauteed red cabbage with sweet peas. All of it was so much fun cooking with you. Smell of freshness and aroma of cooking, and all of it melting in your mouth is what I call cooking without boundaries. See you next time. Until then, happy cooking.